Your Excellency, to matters now development projects, and we've seen the issue that Kenyans are actually expressing is that this government is forcefully imposing government projects, programs. For instance, vaccination of animals, SHA, that is the Social Health Authority, affordable housing, and I'll begin by that before we get to the specific programs. What do you make of, or what do you think about this? Because Kenyans say it is too soon. It is being buttressed on them. You're forcing it down their throats.
That is not true. Maybe it's a misunderstanding, because has anybody been arrested for not doing anything? What the government is doing is it is doing its obligations to the public. The government's obligation to the public is to work for the national interest. The national interest in this matter includes, for example, universal health coverage, making sure as many Kenyans as possible have medical cover, because many homes have been rendered poor. Even people who had something, they have sold everything to pay for medical bills, especially when it is chronic and critical illnesses. Okay. Many poor people live by chance. They take herbs, they go some look for witch doctors, they cannot access medical care. So we are saying, what government is saying is that it is in our interest as a country that every Kenya has an insurance, a medical insurance. It is not taking people to court for not having a medical insurance. Those are two different things. Okay, fine. The same with vaccination. What the government is saying about vaccination is that we have certain targets as a country to grow the livestock and that value chain around livestock and livestock products. For us to reach those targets, we need to access European market, the Middle East market, and even the regional market under the African free trade area, and then also under economic EPAS, the partnership between Kenya and the European Union, which we signed last year. In many of these markets, our products are being denied access, and one of the requirements is sanitary and phytosanitary standards. That is to say, health-related standards. One of the requirements for us, for example, to meet our export demand is that your herd must be vaccinated. And what we are rolling out is a vaccination program which has always been there for 40 years, but because there has been no campaign, high-level government campaign, we've been vaccinating about 10% of livestock. So many of our livestock are rejected when we take them out either as live animals or beef because of the vaccination question. So it is purely a disease control issue. The vaccine is developed by Gov't in Gov't, by Kenyan scientists. It has always been used. It is only that we are doing a campaign to make sure, other than vaccinating only 10% of livestock, we can have 80, 90, 100% vaccination for purposes of getting market access, exporting livestock and livestock products even to other countries.
DP, it's good that you, before you go to affordable housing, Ashley, because we are still on the vaccination issue, you may be explaining a very good thing for the country, but are you aware that citizens are agitated by the language of their leaders? Is there a more decent way to explain your programs and not seem like you're forcing it down their throats? And I'll give examples. Adani Consolation, the president said it is people who have never been to the airports that are complaining. When it comes to the vaccination, majority leader yesterday, I think, said ni watu hawana ng'ombe, hawana kuku. How do you think that makes citizens feel when they are trying to express themselves, yet they are met with arrogance? And to add on to that, the Kenya Veterinary Association perhaps has, among the recommendations they've given, they've said improve public awareness, enhance stakeholder engagement. When will Kenyans feel they are participatory in this government, in these projects that affect them?
First of all, we agree that we need to create awareness and also just carry citizens along in our government programs, and also generally as government we need to continue communicating to the people in a manner that is consistent with our obligations under the Constitution. But having said that, I am sure again, because we were here an hour or so ago, I'm sure you are not inviting me to comment on statements by the president or another leader, because let's discuss the issues. Let's not discuss, those kind of issues, because in the process, the message will be lost. And the message is, these programs are for the interest of the nation. There is nothing sinister about it. As to if we need to improve our communication and engagement strategy, I agree with you. It is work in progress. We need to keep on improving.
There's many questions, Mr. DP, whether these questions are really for the interest of the people. We, as the media, have reported every day, Kenyans are deeply frustrated with the Social Health Authority. Many, in fact, say NHIF was working. When you come to issues like affordable housing, we were told there was public participation, despite public discontent. When it comes to livestock vaccination, the same thing. Is the government hiding behind the facade of public participation to pass unpopular programs, knowing very well that there's no legal binding framework on public participation? And so the government really isn't bound by Kenyans who say we don't want SHA.
We'll go back to what we said earlier. The government must continue listening to the people and getting input from the people. But the government also has a duty to carry out programs for the transformation of the country. Some of the programs that will transform Kenya may not be popular now, but they'll be popular sometime. So Singapore, for example, which many people praise, one of the factors and anchors that took Singapore where it was among other anchors is the housing anchor. And today, if you look at the Human Development Index, Singapore is up there, and one of the variables is housing, because almost 99% of everybody has a decent home. So, and it was unpopular at the time when the Singaporean leader was bringing this program. It was very unpopular. In fact, it had a component of compulsory savings. But today, many years later, after this leader left the scene, the people of Singapore are very happy that this project propelled their country into the first world. So I will end with what I started with, that what is popular may not even be in the public interest. And sometimes what is in the public interest may not be in the national interest. And the work of government is not to look for popularity. Popularity is a function of elections, which we do every 5 years. And every politician has a way of transacting with electorate to look for popularity during election. In between here, it is to engage the people, listen to the people, which we are doing. In many instances, we may not be perfect because government is a human endeavor. Like any other, we are not 100%, but we are continuing to listen. And as the President said during the State of the Nation address, listening is a full-time occupation of every leader.
Thank you very much.
And therefore, these programs may have the kind of, the consensus is not yet there, but they will transform Kenya. And many years later, when many of us who are in this space are not even here, Kenyans will come in succeeding generations will be grateful for the housing program, the universal health program, the agricultural reform program, and all the other programs that this government is rolling out for the transformation of Kenya.
Thank you very much, Deputy President, Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki, for your time. And I think Kenyans tonight We'll be waiting to see what will happen next in terms of how you listen, how you communicate, and how you take action after you have made promises. Asante sana. Mimi nimekuwa wako Mashirima Kapombe kutoka runinga ya Citizen.
Joel Chacha kutoka runinga ya K24.
Michelle Ngele Odhiambo, NTV.
John Jacob Kuria, KBC.
Ashley Mazuri, KTN.
George Maringa, TV47.
Usiku mwema mtazamaji.